Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It seems, and I mean, everybody does it. A lot of there's extremists on both sides.
And the Republicans are the same way.
Yeah,
if Barack Obama did something good, they'd never celebrate it.
No, nothing. Yeah, so it's like, how can you not just take their, as politicians that that represent the people, they should be focused on the best interests of the country. So when there's something that's objectively in the best interest of their constituents, which is people, I mean, for president, it's the entire country, every citizen. They should recognize that. They should recognize that as a good thing. And a lot of time they don't do that. If it's Trump or whoever, I mean, we talked about it last week with the kind of peace deal between the UAE and Israel.
Yeah.
It's been widely criticized by kind of leftist politicians, even though I don't see a problem, like where it's a bad thing anywhere. It doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not a bad thing anywhere, but you can spin any story in the media to sound bad, right?
Oh, yeah.
You could literally like take the best thing that any president has ever done, and like Fox News or CNN will find a way to spin it to be bad.
If it's from the,
and like that's just bad journalism. I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense at all to me.
Where has the standard of journalism gone?
It's down the drain.
Where did it break down? Break down at Trump? Did it break down at Obama, Clinton? Where'd it go? When did it stop?
I think it started to break down like probably during the Obama administration.
Really? I think well before that.
You think? I don't know. I think, but where it really like came to the front and became like a super serious issue was leading up to the 2016 election.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
in that campaign, that's where it became just abysmal. The standard was so low that, I mean, it's not even recognizable from good journalism from, I mean, in the past. Obviously, we're both pretty young, so we haven't, it's been a long time. Like, it's been bad for a significant portion of our lives, but I think that's where the real crux of the issue has kind of come down to it.
I may have mentioned this before on the podcast, but the former head of NBC he is now the head of CNN, Jeff Zucker. He was the head of NBC, and they hired him at CNN because ratings were, and now that he's at CNN, everything got much more like biased, much like journalism is out the window, gone.
That's crazy. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, so he was at NBC. He was there when the only reason I learned about this is because Conan, all that stuff that happened with Conan.
Oh, like
Jeff
with the
Zucker
late
was
show, or late night
the
show.
tippy top of all that stuff
dang.
with Conan.
Yeah, it is weird. You have to be careful with like talking. It seems like there's a lot of media companies are controlled by very few companies. So like I've seen edits where they'll compile like a bunch of different local news stations and they're all saying the exact same thing and the exact same words, and it's kind of freaky actually to see like they're all out of sync, and then they line up for like specific keywords and phrases that they're obviously being fed. And it
looks like state-run media.
Is
what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like state-run media.
Journalism is very important. We journalists are among the most trustworthy people you will ever meet, and it's like 40 different news stations all saying the same thing.
So I think independent journalism is something that is one thing that's keeping our democracy like more free than if places like journalism on YouTube and other independent sources. One of my favorite sources is The Hill.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And Rising specifically, their show Rising. They have the two hosts. One's a not traditional conservative, but a conservative, and one's more liberal. And they're not afraid to call out people on either side. They bash on everybody if they do something that's not in the best interest of the American people. And so I think we need more news sources like that. And that's the only way to fix journalism. Is not There's no way with the major like news companies like the New York Times or Washington Post, CNN, Fox. Those aren't going to get fixed. Those are only going to get worse. So it's only going to be when people start turning to independent sources that you'll get the media will start to fix itself and play the correct role in our country.
I almost disagree. I think that the media is at a point right now where outrage is getting views. So it's like, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. The Supreme Court has already held that you can be right or wrong in media.
Oh yeah, and I think they have to publish like a retraction if they're wrong, but the retraction gets nowhere near as many views as the initial story. Yep. They publish a outrage clickbait story and then get proven wrong like immediately, and 3 days later they publish a little article saying, oh yeah, sorry, we were wrong about that.
At the very bottom in like size 2 font.
Small font, yeah, exactly. And 5%, maybe less, of the people that saw the original story will see, especially with like Twitter and stuff, because they'll just tweet out the headlines and people respond to that. They don't even read the article, and then they don't see the retraction. They don't even have to like tweet out the retraction. It's just people interacted and saw, and it gets shared over and over again. And I agree with that's a big problem, that outrage media has become so popular and so profitable. It's the only thing that's profitable for them anymore, is when they can get people to click by making people angry.
I saw an article that said Tucker Carlson's show got more ratings than the NBA and CNN combined. I saw an article that said that. It probably wasn't from a trustworthy source, so someone will have to double check it. But